my home track is really cool.
So guys,
and also Steve Prefontaine legacy. Do you have
Yeah.
today on your career? I don't know if you read the new book just got out this year.
I don't think I've read it, but no.
So what was Steve's impact on you?
Yeah, like I was saying, first track athlete I knew of. Probably the reason I started growing out my hair. He was, he had the flow, and I thought it was just the coolest thing ever. And then, my dad just put me on all the movies, and I just had like a real like draw to the Pacific Northwest really after seeing that, and I felt like this is where you go to become a world-renowned track athlete. And as soon as I stepped onto the campus, I felt like I was surrounded by everything I dreamed of, and then it was just like, now I gotta do my part and hopefully taking up that role, and just trying to emulate all the greats that have come before me. And obviously that pretty much starts with pre.
what do you think guys like Simeon and Elliott are thinking right now going into their first pre class? Again, just maybe that important moment of finally getting an ability to compete in this meet.
Yeah, I think it's so good. Like, those guys are both super talented. I lived with Elliott for a couple years here at Oregon, and so we're really tight. And seeing him take his career where it's gone so far is really awesome to see. Simeon's a little bit younger, but just watching, he's just raw talent, and really exciting for the future of the mile and honestly just American running. And to have it all funneled through University of Oregon is just like, they're doing their job the same way I felt like I was doing it. So again, like, this is where I felt like I went to the Olympics, but then Prefontaine was the first real pro meet that I did after that, and I felt all of it, and I feel like now is kind of their first chance of getting a taste of that, even though they're still in college and working towards that pro life, but they're living it right now.
You mentioned Prefontaine was an inspiration to you. What are some of the other athletes that you looked up to growing up, coming up as a younger guy?
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna sound biased, but a lot of them went to Oregon. I say this pretty frequently, but Matthew Centrowitz, first American to win the 1500 in like over 100 years before he did it, and then to add my name to that same list 8 years later is pretty incredible. And then to have our careers overlap was very cool, and like something I'll always be happy that happened. The same can be said about Andrew Weeding and just so many others that I'm definitely blanking on right now, but Bernard Lagat, like all of these guys that were just killing it. And I watch all the videos, Olympic finals, world finals, USA trials on repeat again and again. I can pretty much replay year by year these races in my head, and I just wanted to feel like what they felt, and I feel like I'm trying my best to live in their footsteps.
And How often do you watch your race?
I watch it a lot.
And you mentioned your dad turned you onto the Prefontaine movies. Were either of your parents track and field athletes?
Yeah, my dad, he ran through high school and then cycled in college, so he definitely had that endurance background, and he got it. But then, it just gave me all the tools I needed once I got to this level. And both my parents just went all in and studied up on the sport, and it's very helpful.
Cole, we seem to be like in the midst of like a golden age for American men's middle and long distance running. It's not just yourself and Grant and Yard, it's also Hobbs Kessler, Bryce Hoppel, Kenneth Brooks just won the silver in the steeplechase last year. You've got Nico Young and Connor Mans, and Donovan Brazier seems to be on the comeback trail in the 800. So with all of that said, how much does this increased level of competition, increased level of difficulty domestically kind of create sort of this iron sharpens iron environment, so that you have to push yourself against your fellow countrymen before you can think about the best in the world?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, definitely speaking for myself, but I feel like all the runners I talk to are aware of like what we're living in right now. We're like, last year, the 1500, we're like, that was a super competitive trials, and then we went to the Olympics, and it's like, that wasn't just super competitive. You had to be the top 5 runner in the world to make this USA team. That alone speaks for itself. And like you said, iron sharpens iron, couldn't be more true. And it's just like so many of these other countries don't have to think about that. if you're the best 1500 runner, you get that bye. You know, I won the Olympic gold, and I still gotta spike up here in a month and fight for my spot, and it's not guaranteed. And that's tough to do every year, but at the same time, I think it creates the strongest team in the world. And Worlds and the Olympics show that time and again. So I think it's a good thing.
Our time is up.
All right, thank you guys.
Thanks.